I'd like to, I'd like to call a meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission to order.
Roll call, Commissioner Frederick,
Here.
Commissioner Lee, not present, Commissioner Lawfer, Commissioner Malone,
Here.
Commissioner Teeter,
Here.
Vice Chair Bites,
Here.
and Chair Doherty.
Here.
Thank you.
Just a reminder with the fans going, it's really important to use your microphones when you're speaking so that the audio picks up for the recording on YouTube as well as for her notes.
Okay, thank you. Could I have the approval of the minutes?
I move approval of the minutes.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstains? Any noes? Okay, thank you.
Are there any presentations this evening? None? Okay. Any oral requests? None? Let's see. Any unfinished business?
Just to confirm, there's no one online, correct? Okay.
Okay, new business, our Caregivers Count Conference.
All right, so I'd like to invite Tina Wong Erling, our adult services supervisor up. She's going to be providing you guys some background information about our upcoming Caregivers Count Conference.
Thank you, Director Bissell. Good evening, Chair Doherty and members of the Parks and Rec Commission. It's nice to be with you this evening. Want to thank you for the opportunity to come share the 15th Annual Caregivers Count Conference. Some of you, I believe, have heard of this conference, but I'd like to give some context before getting into when and where and so forth of the conference. So family caregivers face a really difficult predicament because of their responsibilities of caring for a loved one. In this case, the Caregivers Count Conference serves the caregivers who care for elderly loved ones. So it's estimated that there are 63 million caregivers in the United States. So 4.5 of those are here, estimated in California. The effects of caregiving obviously can take a toll to caregivers mentally, physically, and of course, emotionally. You've all heard of burnout. That really does exist for caregivers because oftentimes caregiving is really not a sprint, it's a marathon. We've heard of different situations where caregiving can go on 5 years, 20 years, and so forth. So the Caregivers Count Conference was created not exactly 15 years ago, although it's the 15th annual conference, but in 2007, out of a coalition of agencies in Santa Clara County to really help support caregivers and to provide practical tools, to provide support, and to really help them maintain resiliency. That's really the crux of why this Caregivers Count Conference exists. So the 15th annual conference, you have the flyer before you, is in 3-part. There are 3 sessions. It starts on September 6th and September 13th, and then lastly, September 20th. These are consecutive Saturdays. The first 2 sessions are virtual. The conference went virtual during the pandemic, and we found that it's been very successful because it allows for easier access. And the last session, we just brought this back last year, is in person at the Campbell Community Center. So this year's theme is care transitions. You have the information in front of you, but I'd like to just highlight, what the topic really is designed to do. So our first speaker is actually husband and wife psychologists. They're co-authors and also former caregivers themselves, and they have a new book out, and they'll present the 7 questions about transitions and addressing the emotional aspects of caregiving. The importance of giving yourself permission to accept the various stages of care, accepting help, and dealing with conflict when a loved one does not accept care. So those are difficult topics, but our keynote speakers will tackle those, and he's spoken for us. I believe this is his 4th time. So he writes articles for ARP. He's quite well known in the caregiving world. Then our second session on September 13th will also be virtual. And this is called Tailoring Care and Supporting Transitions. Participants will learn how to recognize that a loved one needs more care. Once we're in that situation, it's hard to sometimes see when your loved one needs more care. The presenter will talk about tips for transitioning through support services and what that may look like. The presenter is Vanessa Souza, and she's a licensed clinical social worker with the Alzheimer's Association. So you probably know that a lot of caregiving happens for those with cognitive impairments. So a lot of times the tips that come from the Alzheimer's Association are really applicable for all caregivers in general. Then lastly, the in-person session on September 20th will be held at the Campbell Community Center in room Q80, the Roosevelt Room. And we're going to do two things in that session. The first is bridging the tech divide, empowering caregivers with digital tools, whether they're high-tech or practical low-tech solutions. And we have a speaker from the Santa Clara Family Health Plan joining us for that. Then we have a kind of a different type of speaker her name is Deidre I believe that's her last name. She's a certified senior advisor as well as a geriatric care manager at law offices of Litherland, Kennedy and Associates, where she helps families with estate planning as well as how to pay for care. Because that's our number one question, right? When your loved one needs care, how do we pay for it, whether it's in home or whether it's placing your loved one in a facility? And that really is a popular topic because all caregivers want to know that, because at some point they're going to need help if it's the marathon that I described earlier. So that's the plan for this year's Caregivers Count Conference. And my ask to you is to help spread the word. So you have a flyer before you. I'm happy to email you the electronic version of the flyer. If you know someone or even yourselves, if you're in that situation of taking care of a loved one, please let them know about this wonderful community benefit. It is a free conference. Registration is required, and you have the information there with a QR code. And it brings them right directly to our website, which is www.caregiverscount.net, no space. And all the information's there. You can sign up for 1, 2, or all 3 sessions. So it's very, very user-friendly. And on our website, you can also find previous conference information. You could look back and you can view previous sessions. And there's a range of different topics that are relevant and really helpful to family caregivers. So I will stop there. I've given you an earful on this topic, but if there's any questions that I can entertain or any thoughts, I'm here for that.
Any residency requirements?
No, not at all, especially for the virtual sessions. I mean, during the pandemic, we had people type in hello from Texas, hello from France. So no, and it's free. We do ask people register, allows us to track our attendance. We do have sponsors for this event. So it's important that we're able to report back numbers and the impact to the community.
Are there any other questions? Well, I just want to say, I know I've taken this class before and it was very helpful to myself and my family. So thank you very much for keeping it going. It's a great resource to have.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Next on the agenda is our skate park renovation projects.
All right, good evening. So tonight, since we met last on this topic, we've done quite a bit more outreach to the community. There's been quite a few people who have been vocal through this process, and we kind of reached out to them directly. I was also going out to the skate park fairly regularly, talking to people. In my going out to the skate park, it became very clear that there is one gentleman in our community who is a skate park designer as well and is very in touch with a lot of the skaters who skate at our park. They know him by name. So it got to the point every time I go out there, like, have you talked to him? Have you talked to him? So I did reach out. He was on my email list as well, and he has consistently provided very good feedback for us and insight on how to improve it. We work directly with him and the consultants to kind of come up with the final design that kind of really emulates all of the community feedback that we've been hearing, and as well as Justin. So he had been out there kind of talking to the community as well. So this is where we have landed with this final design. Let me see if I can move this out of the way for you. So keeping the half pipe in the same location, there is a bit of elevation there that you can see, which brings us up and over to the pyramid with the steps. A lot of components, and I'm not familiar with the, all of the names. One of the biggest changes that we have here is this on the east end of the park, kind of building out the corner ramp that is there and extending it, and also with some different elevations. These pads at the bottom, you can see, are all placed kind of where it works for the skaters. And you'll see along the bottom, those two red things, those are actually skatable benches that will be installed along the edges of the park. We do have a lot of kids who sit out there resting in between runs that they do and things like that. So this is a different angle for you to see kind of where the park lands and kind of that really big back component. So the existing corner unit is just over 3 feet. I think this one's going to be 4 feet in the corner, so it will be a little bit bigger, quite a bit bigger radius as well. Here's a closer look at that pyramid box with the steps. And one of the other like kind of pyramid-y things in the center. These pads here, these are very heavily used in our park, and so having good access and the right slope was very important, and having a lot of kind of blank space around them for them to utilize properly was also very important. And then this red curb is one of those curbs that you would find in a parking lot that we've seen them drag in on their skateboard. So this one will be attached. If you can see in this picture here in the back, it kind of slopes down on one side. So kind of for beginners to kind of learn coming off of those. So again, just a lot of variety that's being offered within the park. This one that was in the packet does provide all the dimensions. So you can see our existing half pipe is close to 6 feet. So we will have an elevated portion at 5 feet on one side, but the rest of it will be dropped to the 4 foot to allow a lot more variety of skaters to be accessing that component. That back corner unit that I was saying was 4 feet, and then it drops down to 3 feet with some different angles and ramps. And that's kind of it. So at this point, this project is pretty finalized. We're looking for, comments, and, tonight we'd need a recommendation to push it on to city council. And then we'd move on to a construction contract to the next steps. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
And when I was there that day a while back, there was a lot of little kids doing the skateboard. Is there a plan for helping them understand the risk in some of these?
Say it one more time. Is there a plan for?
Is there a plan for them knowing that there's a risk in some of these?
Talk about the young ones.
Yeah, the little ones.
Yeah, so
some
you're talking about whether or not the children know that there's risk. So there are signs there, kind of skate at your own risk. Per our ordinance, you're supposed to have helmet and elbow pads and knee pads and all of those things. Without staff there, it's not something that gets enforced, right? So it is kind of a skate at your own risk.
I just want to add a comment to, I guess, fellow council members. Mr. Henderson, who we met with at the skate park, he came and gave that testimony. I've been talking with him, and it sounds like the gentleman that Natasha is speaking of, Chris was also working with him on this design. My understanding is both of them are happy with the layout. It fulfills their needs for the scale and the size of this project. I do have one question just regarding the alternate ad, custom ramp or enclosure. Is that, it looks like it's on there as a cost that we're, as
So,
part of the project, is there something?
so that would be painting. So it's where you're either doing the enclosures or the ramps. So the black edging and the beige are their standard colors. And so
Oh, I
that ad alternate was to paint one or the other. However, with the cost of the project, this doesn't include the removal and the prep of that. So we're leaving the remainder up. We're not going to be moving forward with an ad alternate of the color changes because we need it for the concrete that we need out there. Because once we remove the existing ramps, there's a lot of bolts that go into it. So we don't know the extent to what that cement's going to need to be
I see.
prepped out.
Yeah, there, I assume there'll be some prep that has to
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
on that surface. Sorry, but I guess just from this, from the images that we're seeing, that the colors shown are what is going to be installed. And then I think the only other concern I heard about these ramps is the noise from them because they are metal. They are supposedly very loud, louder than what was there before. Granted, it's on a very busy street, but from my perspective, that's the only thing I've heard that's of concern. So I guess ultimately, from who I've talked with and reviewing it, I think we should proceed moving forward, recommending the project as is.
Great.
Just, one of the things I think, I noticed out there, there's not a water fountain. Is that something that's part of this project to add, or that would have to be something
It'd
separate?
probably be something separate that we have to do. The closest water fountain is at the concession stand, so it is not nearby. But it is something that we did acknowledge that needed to be addressed there, and it'd be separate from this project.
Okay, that would be my only recommendation,
Oh,
that
no,
with
definitely.
kids flying around, they're not gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So just having water available close by would be great.
Sorry, I had just one more comment, I guess question. I see we're putting in two benches. Is there a reason it was only two? I guess looking at the renderings, it seems like you could fit more. Based on, when you see this
Yeah,
part crowded, I'm just
Mainly
wondering.
because they're skatable benches.
Yeah, I
so-
assume so. Yeah.
So it was more that they had
It's the space.
access to utilize them, yeah, so, they kind of make do of what's out there right now, and so it was just more that's kind of where the shady spot was, and they kind of balanced them so that there was enough space to either sit there or ride them and not get hit with other things, so.
Gotcha.
yeah.
So they position them
Yeah.
relative to trees, sounds
Mhm.
like that,
Yeah.
as well as separation.
Any other comments? Okay, we will move on to the future meeting.
We do need a motion to submit it.
Excuse me, if we could have a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the final design of the skate park, to be moved forward.
I'd like to second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you.
Okay, now we will move to a future meeting held in a park.
Yes, so part of your work plan was to host 2 meetings in a park. And so I wanted to bring this tonight before the commission to discuss a future meeting. So we've already done one at the community center. And so we are looking to be bringing the Parks and Recreation Master Plan back to the Park and Rec Commission at the September meeting. So that would kind of leave the October meeting available, weather permitting. So I wanted to kind of put that up for discussion, if that was the pleasure of the commission, and if you wanted to do that, at what location. We can definitely finalize those plans in September in case there's an agenda item where it requires us to be in council chambers, but otherwise we could kind of plan towards that.
I remember talking about Edith Morley as one of the places we wanted to go because it had the community garden, and they're talking about some interpretive stuff for that, and it seemed like a good accessible place.
I would agree with that. There's a lot of places to walk around out there. It's very interesting, yeah. I think October would be a wonderful month. Cool, hopefully.
Do I need a roll call on this?
So Edith Morley does have the Koa Strong Kindness Rock Garden that was installed last September, so it'd be probably a good space to kind of go check out. Earlier, the commission had also brought up Edith Morley, it's a rentable picnic site, but there's not currently barbecues, and kind of what that reasoning was, so it could be an opportunity for the commission to also explore what that looks like at that location. So if that is the pleasure of the commission, then yeah, a motion to cancel the regular meeting located here to host one at Edith
Okay.
Morley, weather permitting, we could do that.
And would it be at 5?
It'd be at whatever time you'd like.
Yeah, but I mean, would that be a recommended
Yeah,
time?
so,
Because sunset will be
Later,
around
for sure.
7.
yeah,
I move that we meet at that park at 5 o'clock on the October date.
I'll second.
October 1st.
Oh,
On the October date.
Oh, date. I'm
Me
sorry, I
second.
just said date.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you.
Okay. Community events.
all right, so I included in the packet some events that are coming up. So tomorrow we're having our 5th summer concert out on the greens at Soul Kiss. Friday, we'll be hosting our 2nd movie night out at John D. Morgan Park. The movie is If. And then we will continue on with our summer concerts through the month of August. We have a history happy hour next Friday, also at the Carriage House. It's the history of the Bernal Gulnak Joyce Ranch. And I spelled that wrong. It should be an H, not an E. And then there's a Garden Grooves concert at the Ainsley House on Sunday, August 24th. So kind of wrapping up our outdoor stuff through August and as kids get back to school, but still quite a variety of community and family events that are going on.
Thank you. Any comments?
I just had a question about how the summer concerts are going. I went to the first one. It was great, beautifully organized. How has the subsequent ones been?
They've been going really well. After the first one, we decided to start doing the bike valet program that we had a few years ago during farmers market. So I rode my bike to the event that first night and I realized there's no bike racks. And so we decided to bring out all the bike valet stuff. It's free. People can roll up with their bikes. It's set up right out here on the grass. We have volunteers or staff that sit there and it's a tag in, tag out, just so that your bike has a safe spot to park. And so that's been working out well. It's been getting used more and more as the weeks have gone on. But overall, the crowd is, the same kind of Campbell crowd that we've had year after year. So, and just a reminder that the Museum Foundation does do concessions in the back by the Ainsley House, serving beer and wine and food. And it's a major fundraiser for them. And they really support the education programs, the museum, and the preservation of both museums.
Yeah, and I would have to say they have it very well organized, so it doesn't, don't have long lines or, yeah, it's really nicely done. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will be moving to committee reports. Parks and Creek Trail, Chair Teeter.
Okay, members of my committee, you have something that you'd like to add first before I do?
Well, I feel like I was a trader this last month, more to the recreation side. So I went to the community day at the Campbell Center. Fantastic. I mean, it was basically like they set up a great birthday party, for anyone that wanted to come. And there was 3 jumpy houses, and those were like at near capacity almost the whole time, and a lot of other fun activities and games. Probably the most interesting was the jumping frog feet. The kids had fun with that. The only thing I would say is it was such a great resource. I would say like even advertise it more. I don't know if it got on the electronic signboard, but even like just signs for people that are coming by the community center. It could have, there was enough capacity for more folks to do it, but it was just a great time. All the kids had fun. The parents were kind of just enjoying the break as the kids were running around. So that was really great. And then the disco glow that I asked about and I ended up volunteering for, I mean, it's so heartwarming. It was some kids, but mostly adults of different abilities. And they just were having a blast going to a DJ'd dance. Everyone had their own style, but somehow when the Macarena came on, everyone knew how to do the Macarena. The Campbell staff was great. They also had folks from the what was the foundation? But I forgot a foundation that had brought kind of ambassadors with them. It was just that is a kind of thing that we should be doing. I mean, like people were, asking me as they were leaving, like, "Oh, when's the next dance?" I didn't say, next year, but like I routed them to what next activities were available. But I just a really incredible resource. I mean, it almost brought me to tears.
We appreciate the feedback. We advertised more than we did last year, but had less participation at that event. But we thought of the same thing of making banners that say free recreation event to kind of help drive people in whenever we're doing something. And then the adaptive disco dance is just a lovely, lovely dance and quite an event to be a part of. And the San Francisco Autism Center donates the cost for the DJ for us. So they pay for the DJ and it's a free event for whoever. And so people come from up and down the peninsula. I think we had about 150 people who RSVP'd online and probably a little over 100 who showed up. Yeah, so it was great. Thank you for volunteering.
Yeah, no, it was very interactive. At one point, I was taught a strange dance where me and the guy hooked our ankles together and we're hopping up and down. I mean, it was a blast.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Adding on the Parks and Creek Trail Subcommittee. Been riding around on the trails recently, creek trails. It's looking very good. I've seen a lot of the unhoused activity and debris has been cleaned up since our last meeting. And I know that was the effort of the city. So it's been looking really good, and obviously a lot of people are using it in the summertime. Also, John D. Morgan, I drop my kid off there for summer camp every single morning. There were some issues with the doors and a few other things. Park is looking good again, so it's great to see. Yeah, I don't know any other.
Yeah, speaking of the summer camp, the neat thing, I also volunteer at the tech center on Wednesdays. And all of a sudden I see all these kids and staff members with Campbell Camp. So they were there visiting for their field trip. I thought that was wonderful. That was really neat.
Yeah.
Last Friday morning, I went on the creek trail. I did notice, as you said, all of the old homeless camps have been removed. However, I saw 2 new camps, but on the other side of the fence near 17. So I don't know whose property that is.
That property there is Caltrans.
Okay,
We've been in contact with them, and they are planning probably mid-August to go ahead and clean those 2 encampments.
yeah, I don't know how they're getting over
That area.
I guess part of the fence was down with that one camp, but I don't know about the other one. But anyway, the rest of the stuff was cleaned out. The good news, I saw 12 turtles and I saw all those big fish again at the spillway. What are those big fish again? They're huge. No, they're not. No, they're different. Maybe carp? I don't know my fish. Anyway, there was guys trying to fish them and stuff. But the really neat thing I saw at the playground on Friday morning were 3 dinosaurs, people dressed as dinosaurs. Was that the youth commission or somebody? Because the kids were having a blast with these dinosaurs running around. The dinosaurs were going down the slides. No?
Campbell Park?
Campbell Park.
Not us.
Okay. I thought for sure the city had something to do with that. But anyway, heavily used, of course, and even in the hot weather. So everything's clean. Nice. Good. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, community center or community building. That's me. I don't have anything. Do I? I don't think I do.
Well, you want to share about, we met, you and Tina came and the event.
Oh, thank you. I knew I had something I needed to talk about. Tina and I did meet about having an event in the fall, and we decided to have a pumpkin carving contest. And since this is the first time, to make it kind of easy and low key for parents, so there's going to be 2 age divisions, and you can turn in your pumpkins to the recreation department, and then they'll be voted on, and we'll go from there. So,
Did you bring the 2 flyers?
no, I did not.
Well, then you guys can make a decision, let me know. So,
Oh, yeah, I sent you one comment about the
Mhm.
flyers. I think it was the first one. I like the color on one and the design on the
Yeah.
other.
so it was something you guys could have brought for tonight to share, but that's okay. So
So sorry.
that's okay. Yeah, so they are gonna do an event, so they will have, they have Creepy Crawly on the Sunday before, Halloween. And so if the Park and Rec Commission wants to participate in that and pass out candy, you can also advertise that you will be doing a pumpkin carving contest. People have to bring completed pumpkins. They have to do their own supplies and everything and bring them to the recreation office. And then on that Wednesday and the following day, which is I think the 30th, it'll give an opportunity for commissioners to come by the office and vote for their favorites. And then at the following November meeting, it'll be an opportunity for you guys to disclose who the winner is.
And will they be on display at all for people to, yeah?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
put them on display. We have in the main hallway, we have the display case. And so we can kind of put tables and kind of different leveling to kind of, depending on how many pumpkins we get.
Any comments? Okay. We'll have staff reports. Parks.
Okay, good evening, Commissioner. So park staff, over the last couple weeks, we noticed that Fisher Park, that the play area where the play structure was at, the sand was very low there. So we ordered 15 cubic yards of play sand. Play sand is really super fine material. Ordered that 15 yards, and they placed that and brought that up to the levels that the sand needs to be at to make sure there's somebody in the falls there. They got a little cushion there, so it helps them out. So that was done a couple weeks ago. Also, park staff last week installed at the Campbell Park the park course equipment. You'll notice there that those had decomposed granite on the bottom of them. Some of them were getting kind of rutted from usage and from rainwater over the years. So what they did is they ordered some decomposed granite, went back in there, filled in all the low areas, all the gouges, everything, recompacted. So everything is looking much nicer, and it's safer too. You know, you get those ruts and stuff that people can twist an ankle or fall down. So it's much better shape. Also, next week, parks staff will be, a contractor will be installing jet mulch. That's the blown-in 5-bar mulch for our playgrounds. We have 2 areas at the community center. One is the playground there. One is the little preschool lot that they're going to be putting some more 5-bar in there. They'll also be doing Virginia Park at the swing set, and then also at JDM on the butt side at the swing set there. So it's about 100 to 110 cubic yards of 5-bar will be blown in there, and that'll bring that up real nice to the levels at least. Also, I talked about a couple times, our last couple of meetings, the memorial bench that for Mr. Sheehan in memory of his wife, that is all completed now. Actually, Mr. Sheehan came out and took a look at the bench that was completed. He was very happy with it. So yeah, it turned out very nice. So that was a nice thing. So that is completed 100%. And the last thing I have right now with the hot weather and then the trees being full of leaves, the limbs are heavy. We're seeing a lot of limbs down, even in our parks, residential areas. We're having them fall down on top of cars and different things. So right now we have a lot of limbs that are down, so staff is dealing with a lot of that. But other than that, everything else seems to be going pretty well in the park section. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question about JD Morgan.
Okay.
Well, maybe a couple of questions. When is the projected changes coming on there? The
Changes
parking lot and restrooms?
and the restroom. Do you know what? I don't have an exact date on that of when it's gonna start.
What
I
concerns me,
don't know. I know that they're going through design right now, trying to finalize some of the design. Andrew's been asking me a couple things. Andrew is an assistant that works for Amy Belay. And he's working on the final design because he's actually called me about a few of the park benches. I don't know if you know where those concrete benches that are close to the bathrooms now. They're talking about putting some of the benches in that will be ADA accessible. We have some of those at Edith Morley, but they're out of wood. So I'm trying to get them the proper vendor that can supply those. So right now, I apologize. I didn't.
It
not
says
have-
plans and specs going to council in the fall. So then it's a 12-month construction duration.
So it wouldn't be till after first year, maybe springtime, that they would actually start.
that's probably a better time. If you look at it right now, that parking lot that they're gonna revise is filled up almost all the time. The kids portion of the program is very, very busy. So I don't know what that's gonna mean when they start trying to adjust that. And then I'm gonna make another observation that doesn't count for that, JD Morgan. The other day I was there and there were about 6 teenagers on bikes, motorized bikes, out on the lawn, down the walk, and then going up over the hill, going down here, and then doing wheelies back up. The lawnmower guys had to notice that. I got a film of them trucking away. They went back all the way across the park and then disappeared. Raises all kinds of questions that I've been raising about handling of bikes and scooters in that park. And they were very lucky they didn't hit anybody coming up because it's just, lunch kids were using that little lower part in there for lunch. They weren't there then, they came a little later. But those guys go down there and you don't see them. And if they come up on that bike, they're only about 10 feet away from the walkway. So it'd be very risky for almost anybody in that area.
So when you showed me that video, I did contact our police department.
Good.
Next time, just call 911 and report it instead of videotaping because they will send somebody out
I
there.
wouldn't find them anyway because they left.
Well, at least that if you can provide any sort of description or anything, then they are at least aware of it. And when it, because when they asked me when did it take place, I didn't know the details of those things. So it's best to report it immediately if you're seeing it. And I know it's just hard to kind of channel when that's happening. Even if there is an ordinance that does not permit electric vehicles or bicycles or anything in our parks, it's still the enforcement part of that, right? And how do you mandate that when they can go in on bikes? They've already kind of fixed the parking lot on the Rincon side, so vehicles can't do those things, because that's happened before too, where they drive into the park and do donuts from the lawn and stuff. And so, the motorcycles and bikes is still always going to be a challenge for us.
Can we, as redesign some of this? Can we make some signs? I know you guys can build signs now. They could maybe put some of the rules down really clearly along the walk.
We do have park signs already with the rules. We can look at that pathway as to where they're located, whether or not people read them and adhere
Because
to
there's
them.
still a lot of little kids even that are on power units and scooters that are trucking really fast. And they're only about this tall, but they don't look, and their parents about 30 feet behind them. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that it's bad. I was out on the creek trail too, with Mr. Sheehan, and there was a guy came by on a motorized electric bike too, and he was moving. He didn't slow down or anything, just as fast as he could go past. It's pretty scary. We will take a look at the park rule signs, make sure there's enough of them posted along that.
And what are the park rules or ordinances? Is like, are e-bikes allowed, or is it just a matter of staying on the trails? Or I guess like, I'm like even wondering, is it what they did technically illegal or anything.
So you can't smoke in parks, you
Yeah.
can't have your dog off leash in parks. There's a variety of different rules.
No, but in regards to electric bicycles.
I
or-
don't know if it's in our
Oh,
ordinances
yeah,
right
okay.
now, because it's relatively new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the electric bikes, I don't believe that's in there.
Yeah.
We'd have to look at that. and read
And
it.
is there any like prohibition on staying on the trail for scooters? That like, I'm like, it would be weird to call the cops and then like, they're like, well, yeah, it's not against the law.
It's what they were doing that day was destroying the turf. So
Yeah,
they were doing, vandalism at that point. It's
Yeah.
one thing to ride through on a path and not be considerate of people walking or small children and excessive speed or those
Yeah.
types of things. But even still, it's hard to monitor, like I'm sure you know on the creek trail, just how quickly people can move on that trail and who's
Oh, yeah.
going to enforce it, so.
Like Natasha was saying, when PD did go out and monitor, look at the lawn that after the youngsters left on the bikes, they took a report from our acting supervisor right now on the damages that were done on the lawn and stuff. So there was a report.
And there's a lot of street cameras too, so it is, while it's not like they may have left, if you had a description, it's still easy to kind of pick some of those things up.
I think we had talked about this a few months ago, concern with, especially on the trail with other vehicles flying by. I think what we had landed, or one suggestion that I still think is a great idea and maybe something we should pursue further is postings of etiquette, trail etiquette. At minimum, that gives something for someone to point to and say, hey, you need to call out before you pass me, right? So I think that as someone who rides this trail frequently on bikes and other motorized things, it's very important to let the pedestrians know that you are there. People don't do that. It's hard to enforce. I don't know how you track that or keep someone accountable, but I guess that's just bringing that up as a suggestion. And I did have a couple questions, I guess with regard to the John D. Morgan bathroom design. Is that going to come back to us at any point as far as the design or timeline? I know during the presentation last month, the intent was they were mid-design, they're taking the plans and specs to council. I assume to go out to bid, I assume for contractor. Are we gonna see that? Are we gonna hear about any sort of plans? Because I think the big thing that was noted by all the council members was having that space, having having an alternate parking space, but then also to have bathrooms accessible during that time period. So I guess if we're just wondering if that's going to come back up.
I could talk to Amy Valera, Director of Public Works, and let her know that you're very interested in seeing the final design and layout for the parking lot and everything. And I'm sure she would have no problem coming back to show it to the commission and letting them know exactly. You can kind of see the design, you can see the layout of the parking lot. There are some changes to the parking lot. There's going to be, instead of 3 handicap parking stalls, there's going to be 6 now. They're going to incorporate, and they're trying to get the layout done to where we can pick up some more parking spaces. But I'm sure she'd be more than happy to come back with a final design.
So from my perspective, the like final design, we already looked at the kind of generally what it is not so important. I don't know what other measures. I think more just from a staff report out on the how it would be managed, providing restrooms, directions to alternate parking locations, that kind of stuff. Like, because that was our main concern
Yeah.
of like, where are people going to park? How are they going to use the restroom on that side of the park?
Well, from what I know, the project, while they're doing the bathroom, actually it'll be prefabbed offsite, and then the construction won't start for about 4 or 5 months, even though they're building the bathroom. The actual parking lot will still be accessible and be usable. They're not going to completely close that parking lot off. You're going to be able to use probably 80% of that parking lot, maybe 85%. There'll probably be some temporary handicap parking that we'll have to do in the interim while things are happening. But the parking lot will still be usable for the park. And then Amy can talk about, obviously there'll be a facility, porta potties and stuff out there that will be in place while the actual building is demolished and the new one is being installed.
So I had one additional question. I know the trail extension connection project from Campbell to Creek Trail. Do you guys have an update on where that's at? How much longer?
So the update on that is, just heard that today. The contractor has a few things left on the project. He has, they actually have, they put the base rock down. There, the next phase of work is going to be all the asphalt work that needs to be done. There's also going to be the chain link fence that will be put up. The posts are already in place, but the chain link material will be put up. And then the last portion would be the actual striping of it. So they are anticipating end of August, first week of September to have completion on that project.
Glad to hear.
Any other questions? Okay, Natasha, Recreation and Community Services report.
All right, so we had a great month of activities for the Park and Recreation Month. Thank you for those commissioners who volunteered at our events. It was a lot of community participation and enjoyed providing extra community events for families and just general residents. So it's been fun. Our fall registration opened today for everyone. We've had a lot of enrollments that have already taken place, and some of our 50+ trips have already sold out. So very busy in our office the last couple of days. The Parks and Recreation Master Plan, the last day to provide comments is tomorrow, August 7th. So we'll be bringing that back in September for the commission to review and approve to send to council. So if you haven't already, please send me your comments directly. Don't use the online comment card. And then the City of Campbell, our Department, Recreation Community Services, we're kicking off a healthy living initiative called Live Well Campbell as a way to promote active, healthy lifestyles in our community. So each month we will be celebrating a new theme with fun activities for all to enjoy and learn about health and wellness. We did Parks and Recreation Month for July, as you all know, and August is National Wellness and Family Fun. So the Live Well Campbell initiative embodies Campbell's mission to work together with our community to foster a safe, vibrant, small town feel where innovation and people thrive. We hope that you'll join us for some of these monthly activities and follow along on social media. And we do have more information at campbellca.gov/livewell. So that's all we have for recreation. Happy to answer any questions.
I have a question about, we're going to be reviewing the final master plan at our next meeting. Is that correct?
So right now the draft is online
Right.
for public comments. And so any recommendations or changes or comments that we receive, it'll provide an opportunity for us to make any last minute changes. So what you'll be seeing is a final document coming before you in September.
Okay, before the meeting. So we have a
September meeting, that is correct.
For
And
the-
then it should go to council the second meeting in September. Once your eyes have been on it, then it'll push to council for final approval.
Okay, so we'll have time at our next meeting to discuss among ourselves what some of our comments were.
Yes, so if, whether or not collectively the comments, you know, it's whether or not there's enough comments to kind of filter to the top to make any changes. So that's kind of where we're at. So yeah, so if something wasn't included, oftentimes some of the comments are too detailed for us to put into a master plan because we want it to be fairly global. So sometimes some of the feedback we get isn't enough. It's too minute to put into the plan. So that's where some of those land.
Any other comments? Okay, we're on to good of the game.
I have one more thing, sorry. We didn't do our report for
Oh.
recreation. I forgot it. Maybe now?
Yes.
Our
The
report.
committee recreation did not report out.
Good, good. So our main event for this past month was to go to the Adult Services Providers Network. And Tina and I were not able to go, but Frank went, and so he has a couple of words to say about what went on at that meeting. I'm putting him on the spot.
She's putting me on the spot. Actually, it was a good committee meeting. The activities that are going on are pretty clear. It's a Santa Clara County wide kind of activity set. Campbell's been in the middle of it more lately, but it'll be better be in the more of it further down the road. The community college in Saratoga is proactively promoting some of the program efforts for above 50s. And some of it's work-based, helping people who are over 50 figure out new careers and move towards that. Some of it is that same kind of issue that Tina brought up earlier about helping care for some of that. What seemed to be a little bit light in my sense was really drawing attention to the social appeal of a community and how to make them feel part of the community. And I would suggest, not tonight necessarily, but one of the things that I'd like to see us pick up and really look at is, for the folks that are over 50, are there some things that we should be honoring and pushing to help expand the social side of that age range? Not just little kids.
People in their 70s.
Or 80s.
Yeah, there we go.
So that's just a recommendation on my part. I look forward to them giving a full report. They did a very good job of what they are doing. But we could do a little more for our community.
So I was at that meeting as well. And so it was an opportunity for West Valley College and SASE to kind of share their senior guided pathways project. So they were the underwriter for us to do the citywide survey that was statistically valid for us to get the information for our age-friendly designation. So it's been this really great collaboration that we've had with these different agencies, and out of that came the Campbell Service Providers Network. And so at that meeting, West Valley College here's where we're at. And their Senior Guided Pathways program is a program for older adults who maybe are looking at what's next. I just retired, but I'm not really ready to be retired. Or they've found themselves where they need to do a career change, but don't have skill sets to match different career changes. And so certificate programs of how we get people involved, and it doesn't need to be full-time work, but even part-time work of engaging them on the education side and getting them more involved. So like he said, it was a great thing. I think there was a lot of people who are the decision makers in the room that day to kind of connect and build relationships to expand services for older adults throughout our whole community. So it was a good meeting.
Thank you both. And that's every other month meeting that we plan to attend as a subcommittee, at least one of us, hopefully all of us. Thank you, Frank.
I'll still go because I'm very interested in some of that.
Absolutely.
And I think it's really essential to make sure that Campbell is proactive in the whole sphere of that. So I'll be in it.
Thank you. Good of the game. I think we'll start this way this time.
Okay, my good of the game is, I think, touching on what I said last month as well, but I think it bears repeating. The summer camps offered for the children have been fantastic. My son has done many field trips to, he was at the Tech Museum, as you mentioned.
Was he on the jetpack?
I don't know. He told me he did a lot of stuff, but the pool also has been something that they've been able to do, swim at once a week at least. So having those resources available to the kids, I think is just wonderful. It seems to be going very well.
And the kids need to know that the Campbell Museum, which is at the old firehouse, has wonderful programs for them. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they can play to the postmen that they're picking fruit and putting it in cans. The kids have a ball over there, because I volunteer over there, and I love watching these kids really get into it, you know? But also, as Natasha said, we've got the summer concerts, 4 to go in August. Ainsley House is benefiting from selling the food and the drinks, so please, if you come, the music's good. you know, you get into it and just enjoy it and help to support the Ainsley House.
I get to speak up again.
Yeah.
I want to compliment what we've done in terms of parks. And you see it now more and more, the really outcome of all the effort that's been put into it. The kids areas are absolutely almost a freeway with kids and families in there, and at least at JD Markey and the other parks too. So I like that. I see a lot of seniors, and I think we really need to look at how do we encourage and support some of the activities, kind of like that we've done with the kids. But it's all really good.
So all the clearing brushwork on the creek trail, that all looked really good. It's also, we just had a fire last week on our open space preserve that was contained under 5 acres, but it's that type of work that kind of prevents something like that taking off. In fact, the mowing we had done on the road helped stop the fire there. So great work there. I guess I'll just another tidbit from the Disco Glow event. Kind of the finale was everyone got in one of those chains and were doing their individual dances led by one of the recreation directors. I didn't get to participate because I had to take a video, but I mean, just huge smiles all around. Great event.
So my good of the game for the month is the master plan. I really want to commend all of you. I know how much work you had to have put into all of this. It's very impressive. The process has been impressive. The data you've gathered, the community involvement was wonderful. And the document, I'm reading it from beginning to end, and I'm just really impressed by the scope of it, how clear it is, how readable, and really engaging. It's really, I think, going to be a tremendous addition to the city. So thank you for creating this. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, I was on vacation most of the month, so everybody, I hope everybody's had a nice summer. And school is getting ready to start again, so watch your driving. And with that, I will conclude the meeting. And I'm just 7:58.